Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to another Wednesday conversation. Today, we're going to talk about something that I know at some point in your life, in your career, in a relationship, maybe in your finances, you have felt this way. You have felt like you are stuck. I can't tell you how many times colleagues, friends, family members come up to me and say, I just feel stuck. I'm not going up or down. I'm in the same position day after day after day. It's a rinse and repeat of the day before. You just feel like you don't know what to do, when to do it, how to do it. You just feel stuck. That's the conversation for today. But before we get started, I want you to put it in the chat where you're watching me from, because I'd love to know. Are you in the Washington, DC area, Washington, Maryland, Virginia area, as I am, where we're having a great day today? Or are you someplace else in the country? Just put in the chat. And if you're watching me on the replay, go ahead and drop that in there as well, because I'd just like to know. For those of you who are joining me for the first time, I'm Constance Howard, an executive coach for women who are 55 and older, women who are facing challenges. And so every week I post an episode that I hope empowers them to take action in their life. And that's what today's episode is all about. I want you to look at this whole idea of being stuck in a different way. Maybe it's not that you're stuck. Maybe you do know what you want to do, but you haven't acted on that. You see, every decision, every major thing in my life started with a decision. I talk about that small, rusty, dusty town I grew up in upstate New York. I decided early on that once I left for college, I would never go back there to live. That was a decision. When I went to college, I started out studying to be a speech therapist. And in my junior year, I realized that wasn't for me. And I fell into TV news. I say fell into it because I didn't start off loving it right away. But once I got into it, I decided this would be my career choice, right? That was a decision. And then once I got in TV news and I didn't like on-air work, I decided I would go into management. Those are all decisions that governed my life. They were deliberate, they were intentional, and they were firm. And listen, that worked for a long time. But as I got older, decisions started to feel heavier, right? When I started out in my career, I didn't have anything to lose. And I know a lot of you ladies are in that same, you know what I'm talking about. You start your career, you're really excited, you go in every day, you're going to learn something new, and if you mess up, that's okay, because you're going to get up and you dusted yourself off, and you kept going, right? So decisions were easy. It was all about growth. It was all about who you were becoming, and that was new. But as you get older, decisions get heavier because there are more responsibilities and expectations that are on you, right? So as I got older, with each birthday, people would say, well, what's your next step? What are you going to do, in the future? And I would always tap dance. I'd say, well, I'm thinking about a few things. I got a few irons in the fire. And, I said just enough to keep the conversation moving, because I didn't want to go any further, right? And it wasn't that I didn't know that my TV live career was coming to an end. I knew that. I knew that in my heart and in my soul, that it was time to move on to something else. That season was over. But I just didn't want to. I didn't want to face it. I was avoiding it. right? It wasn't that I was stuck. It was that what I knew in my heart I had to do, needed to do, wanted to do, I was avoiding. Why? I the job was all tied in with my identity, who I was. Well, without TV news, well then who am I? Right? That's what went through my head. Who am I without this? What would I do? What would other people think if I walked away from this career that I had built for 30 plus years? What would people think? And would I be respected? And I know for a lot of women, your identity is tied into what you do. So walking away, it's a heavy decision. It was a heavy decision for me. And avoiding it seemed easier. Now, here's the thing. I convinced myself that I wasn't avoiding it. I was just being responsible. I was just, taking my time to figure out what I wanted to do. I wanted to pay off some bills. I wanted to get myself in a position where, I could sustain myself. I did all of those mental gymnastics in my mind, but really it came down to avoidance. And when you're avoiding something, I know, ladies, please put it in the chat. Avoidance doesn't look like you're just kind of sitting around doing nothing. No, you're busy, you're productive, you keep it moving. But in the back of your mind, right, you're pushing down something that you know that you need to do. And you're telling yourself things like you need a little bit more time before you make a move. You tell yourself that now isn't the right time. But you already know what you need to do. You've built successful careers, right? You've managed organizations. You've done all of these things. So it's not like you don't know what you need to do. You do. You're just avoiding it. And I totally understand it because I did it. I did it for years, right? I did it for years. Um, Making a significant change when you're over 55, that's heavy, right? That's heavy. That you don't take that lightly, right? Because there are a lot of things tied up in that decision. A change may mean, it may have a ripple effect on your family. It may have a ripple effect on your finances, right? So you're not going to do it lightly. But here's what I've realized. Making that, knowing what to do and pulling the trigger opens a world of opportunity for you. Once I decided that that my TV career was over and that I needed to move on, right? Just that mental shift allowed me to think about what was possible, who I could become, what I could do. I didn't blow everything up. And that's what I'm saying to you. Sometimes we avoid pulling the trigger because we think, oh my God, we're going to blow up our entire lives. Our family's going to be impacted. Our finances are going to be disrupted. No, just realizing that now is the time for you to start making your plans to change or to implement whatever it is you want to do opens up the possibilities. So that's what I want you to think about. I don't want you to say, I'm stuck, right? I want you to just sit with yourself for a moment and think about what you already know you need to do, want to do, right? Because inside we know what we want to do. Just think about that. And then allow yourself to start thinking about how you would do it. For me, I decided this TV news wasn't going to last forever. Where could I shift my skills? How could I take my skills and apply it to something else. But it all started with that decision that the TV news career was over and I needed to move on. Allow yourself to dream about who you want to be, what you want to do, how you want to live. And block out the external noise. And by that I mean what people would think, because for a long time that's what I thought, like, what would everybody think if I walked away? Block all of that out and concentrate on what you want. You already know inside that you need to make a change. You already have an inkling of what you want to do, right? So I want you to take away this narrative that you're stuck, that you don't know where to go, how to go, all of that. Take that narrative away and start thinking about who you would become, what you would do if you implemented the change. What does it take for you to achieve the goals that you want to achieve? And again, in my case, I started thinking, what else could I do? What additional training did I need? I didn't blow everything up immediately, right? But I want you to listen to that voice inside of you and start to trust that voice again. I did an episode a couple of weeks ago about learning to trust yourself again. You know, sometimes we get into situations where we're not sure about what to do, and we start asking for everybody else's opinion, and we get paralyzed in that whole, you know, reaching outside, needing outside validation for something that you want to do. Trust that you know what it is you want to do. Trust that you know that you can get to the other side if you simply make a decision to move in the direction of going forward. Forward movement, and take away the idea that, oh, everything has to be perfect. I have to have all of my finances paid. I have to have all of my bills in place. I have to take away the need for perfection. Perfection doesn't exist. You don't need that. Imperfect action is better than no action at all. If you take away anything from this, what I want you to take away is that make a decision and then move forward. Act on what you know you need to do, because that will open up so many possibilities for you. Trust me, it will free you. It will be like weights lifted off your shoulder, just acknowledging that a season is over and a new season is beginning. Make the decision. And, one of the things, like I said, it took me 2 years to turn in my letter of resignation. I wrote it, and then 2 years later, I turned it in. Why? Because in those 2 years, I was deciding who I was becoming, what I wanted to do, how I wanted the next season of my life to be. So if you are sitting in a moment now where I want to say think you're stuck, but you feel like you're stuck, think about that. Make a decision, and then allow that decision to open up your mind to the possibilities of a new season in your life. Think about what you want to do and who you want to be. Please put in the comments if this message resonated with you. I hope it did, because as I said, it can be the start of your new season in your life. It could be the start of you not being disconnected with your life, but fully engaged in where you're going and how you're going to get there. Listen, this is going to be a shameless plug. I want you to hit the subscribe button and click the bell so you'll be notified when any new videos are posted. I thank you for your support, and I'll see you next time. Take care.